All right. I think we're live.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
Welcome everybody. Welcome, Greg.
Yeah.
What's
Welcome,
new?
everybody. So let's get right into this because we have Grant tweeted us a couple questions, and we thought these are great sort of icebreaker questions to get started before people have a chance to get onto the live stream and ask us questions directly.
So let's get right
Um,
into it with Grant's questions, huh?
let's get right into it. So one of his questions, he said, "Happy Father's Day," and asked us, what has been your favorite Father's Day memory as dad or son? So let's start with you, Nick. What not so much Father's Day, but what's just your favorite father-son memory?
Yeah. So as a father, I guess I feel like is where I have to start. So I obviously only had 2.5 years so far, so I haven't had a ton. And actually, when I thought about this beforehand, I said I didn't have a Father's Day memory per se, and I guess I didn't. But actually, just yesterday was one of the most fun memories with my son. Yeah, and we're at that stage where I kind of feel like every day becomes kind of one of those new things because it's something new and different and exciting. He's
Yeah.
learning a lot. But just yesterday, we were outside. He's got this like inflatable dinosaur, and he told me to lay down on the dinosaur, and then he came over and he laid his head just to look up at the trees and point at the birds and things. And I that was just a neat
Uh,
moment because he hasn't had the attention span to appreciate those things yet, and now he does. And so that was kind of exciting and fun. And then like a father son thing, when I was growing up, we used to go to baseball games all the time. And so I like one of my favorite memories as a kid, odd because I don't really like baseball all that much. I did when I was a kid, I'm sure, but these days I'm not really a big baseball fan or anything. But I just love the memories of going to the baseball park with my dad and specifically looking for foul balls around the outside of the park. Like not even the game itself. It was just like the hunt for something kind of like some treasure, so to speak. For me anyway, at the time, a baseball was some treasure because then I'd go get it
sure.
autographed by some of the players, and a few of them went on to play for the Yankees. So that was kind of fun, kind of cool. What about you?
Yeah, I'd have to say, I mean, the most impactful memory by far is when my son was born. I mean, you know, we had gone to the Lamaze classes and everything, and I was there in the room. My job was to help my wife, like with the breathing and keep her comfortable. But as soon as he appeared, I forgot all about her. And they they
Hopefully
they
she's not
brought
listening.
she knows us. they they br- they brought him over, to a table to check his health and everything, and I went over and put my hand near his, and his little hand reached up and grabbed my finger, and I was just so like over the top in love, like instantly. I just couldn't imagine anything better than this little guy, and that's how nature's supposed to work. I know that, but it worked in spades, and um, as sort of an aside, like a lot, somehow a lot of people were suddenly in the room. I think people come in for, again, to check his health and to clean up
Right.
and all different kinds of things, and they all started singing "Happy Birthday," and
Wow.
so it was sort of like we were in this musical
That's
where
really
where
interesting.
where two people fall in love, but it's me and my son. So yeah, it was just spectacular and
That's amazing.
just a
Yeah.
transformative experience. Yeah.
That's pretty terrific. That is tough to top. That's an amazing memory. I remember very clearly when my son was born and the first time I saw him, but there was definitely no happy birthday that started being sung.
Uh,
So that's an interesting one. I might have to hold on to that one because we got
Maybe you
another
could
one on the
start
way.
that with
So
your next child.
that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So that could be a surprise because my wife probably won't watch this later on. So so that could be a surprise. I'm going to hang on to that.
There you go. All right. You can have that one free.
That's right. All right. So it looks like we got a question already from somebody, huh? So
Yeah.
let's see.
But shouldn't we go to Grant's other
Oh,
question?
Grant did have another question. I'm sorry, trying to skip over Grant's question. My apologies, Grant. So Grant's
uh,
other question
right. So he also
is a good
asked
one.
us why we were moving to every other week with
Hmm.
these live sessions instead of going weekly.
Weekly. Hmm.
Yeah. There's several reasons, but what's off on the top of your head about why we did it?
Well, I mean, one of the things is we were doing them on Thursday, and we typically record our podcast on Friday, and so it kind of seemed to me like we were often overlapping with topics in terms of what was, up that particular week. On Thursday was the same kind of stuff that was up on Friday, and we definitely wanted to kind of differentiate the content a little bit. So that was one of the reasons for a move to every other week. Also, to kind of space that out and make sure that there's plenty of new stuff to talk about, so that we're not always talking about the similar questions week in and week out. But then also we wanted to kind of vary it up, try a different time of day, because people are now perhaps back to work, not necessarily at home in the afternoon anymore. And we figured maybe we could hit lunchtime for a number of people. I know that's not the case for those of you on the West Coast, but for a great many people anyway, it's a midday kind of a thing. So those were a couple reasons. And then we got something new coming up.
Yes, we do. So that's sort of on top of my mind, is we wanted to make some room for this other thing. And that other thing is the card talk. So stealing from the name Car Talk, but
No, not stealing. Hang on. Let's not set ourselves up for
It's
any
a
lawsuit.
coincidence.
Totally different thing. It's very coincidental.
different thing.
Totally
That's
different
right.
thing.
That's right. Luckily, no one will accuse us because we're not anywhere near as funny as those guys. So
Right.
we're not stealing.
I'm hearing from the legal
funny
team.
part.
I've never seen Card Talk. That's what the legal team is telling me right now. So yeah, I have no idea what you're talking about. Card Talk, but Card Talk, is
Yeah.
is
So
gonna be our thing.
anyway, we're gonna be interviewing people to find out what kind of intervention they need with credit cards. Do they need to get rid of some because they're paying too much in annual fees? Do they need new cards in order to meet some new objectives? That kind of thing. And so it should be fun. We'll see. But we're going to do that every other week opposite these, so that we're not doing too many different recordings every week.
So the idea is this week will be Ask Us Anything live. Next week will be a recorded Card Talk, hopefully. We'll record anyway at this time, and then we'll hopefully publish that for you within a day or two. So next week you'll have a Card Talk episode to check out, and then the week after that, of course, you have this again. And Grant, don't worry. If you want your Frequent Miler fix, you do have our weekly podcast, Frequent Miler on the Air, that you can find on all the various podcast platforms, and of course here on YouTube as well. So lots of different opportunities to get your Frequent Miler fix. I'm glad that you want more of it, though.
That's right.
Frequent
Miler on the Air is staying weekly. So
right, that's staying weekly.
Don't worry about that.
That'll publish every Saturday. All right.
Let's get to question 1.
Okay.
Under the current world economic situation, this is for me.
Yeah, I should probably ask this. Under the current world economic situation, Greg, are you still a Kiva lender? I've had no repayments for 2 months. Thoughts? So this is not me, no repayments, but the reader who asked it hasn't been repaid in 2 months.
Yeah.
On their Kiva loans. What are you still loaning? Are you getting paid back? What's going on with Kiva?
I mean, repayments are definitely way down. And so it's not a good time to get into it new. It's not a good time to be loaning if your primary concern is about getting all your money back. I am still doing it partly, I guess, out of generosity, but partly out of laziness. So I had a credit card set up to automatically add funds to Kiva every month. And so I just have this sort of habit every month when I get the email saying the funds have been added, I jump on to Kiva Lens and loan that amount. And so I've just continued to do that. And hopefully the loans will come in eventually, just late. But if not, I'm not doing so much that I will have to go begging on the street at the end of it. But I hope maybe I'll have to seek Kiva loans of my own. We'll see.
Well, and I think we had hit a few months ago when when some of the analysis had come out that we realized that the payback wasn't necessarily as good as you had initially expected. I think basically what we had said at the time was that Kiva is not necessarily a good means of manufactured spending if you're looking for the lowest cost out there. And at this point, I think going forward, you said that you would probably only do it if you're someone who believes in the Kiva platform, and obviously Greg is. So I assume that probably hasn't changed very much. So it's a good way to earn some rewards while you're doing something that I think you hope is doing some good in the world. So
right.
So hopefully it still is.
Yeah, hopefully it is.
Yep.
I think it is.
Yep.
All right, let's move on. Saeed, previously, or probably in the blog post, asked, remember the Delta business class sale / mistake fare from Budapest? Well, I booked a ticket leaving Budapest on August 9th, which I may have to change. Will I get hit with paying the difference in fares?
Probably. I don't know that situation specifically, but generally, yeah, if there's a fare change and you got to change it, then yeah, you're gonna be on the hook for the only time in recent memory that I can think of where you wouldn't have had to pay a fare change is with that Qatar Airways deal where they were letting you book something and then you could change it and not have to pay a fare change, right? Not have
Yeah.
to pay a fare, which was
Well,
really notable.
right. I mean, Southwest frequently does that,
You're
right? When
right.
there's
You're
some kind of
absolutely right.
exceptional
That's
situation
true.
where they're waiving change fees, they also waive
That
the
is
change
true.
in fare. But Delta, I can't think of examples where they've done that, but I could be wrong.
Yeah,
So yeah, probably.
probably gonna have to pay the difference in fare. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Although, it bears mentioning that if you are thinking that you might have to change it because you don't know what the COVID restrictions are going to be, think maybe you won't be able to take the trip at all, it might be worth waiting and seeing whether or not that flight still operates. Because if Delta cancels it, then you'll probably get whatever you need back. If you actually need to change it because you need to travel on some other day, well, then yeah, you're probably going to get hit with the fare difference. It's just the way it goes. So
Yeah.
that's the gamble, I guess, with any of those kind of cheap fares that. Well, really, any paid fares. That's the gamble, I guess, right?
Right. But you're right. If Delta cancels it, I think there's a pretty good chance that they will accommodate you by rebooking you on another date of your, and give you some latitude as to when
There you
that
go.
is. So
Good
you
point
might be
there,
able
too.
to make it happen.
There you go. So wait and see if they cancel it, if you can.
Yeah.
All right. So question number 3 comes from AJ, and AJ asks, any news on when or if the Hyatt points balance mistakes will be corrected? I saw something about this, and off the top of my head, I'm not remembering the details. Do you remember the details on this, Greg?
I think I saw on Dr. Credit that a bunch of people were reporting that their Hyatt point balance was mysteriously inflated or deflated. And so quick answer is no, we don't have any news about that. We barely know about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just always assume a mistake will get corrected. And if it's a mistake in your favor, I would assume that it'll get corrected for a long time, because Greg already proved recently how Hilton made a mistake in his favor and came back for it like a year later, right?
Right.
So always be prepared. They might come back for that if you got some extra points.
Yeah. If I have extra Hyatt points, I am not writing about it.
Right. Keep it quiet. All right.
All right. So Larry wants to know. Hi, Larry. LifeMiles around 1.29 cents per point, and Avio's around 1.4 cents per point right now for a few days. I guess he's saying that they're on sale.
On sale. Yep.
Are you guys buyers of either of them?
Well, I was writing a quick deal before this about the LifeMiles sale, rather. And yeah, 1.29 cents if you buy through the 1 mile at a time link. 1 mile at a time, for some reason, LifeMiles constantly offers them exclusive offers for their readers only. And they put very clearly in their post that they don't get a kickback on that. It's just LifeMiles offers something for them. So I encourage you to go and register through them if you're going to buy. And I was going to write about it, or I am writing about it. I've got it about halfway done. Am I a buyer? No, I'm not a buyer right now. I'm not so worried. A lot of people are asking all the time, are you worried that this airline's going to go out of business? Are you worried that that airline's going to go out of business? The bottom line is I'm not like sitting here on pins and needles concerned about any particular airline going out of business. Possible any of them might, because this is a really unprecedented situation, but I think it's unlikely that it will happen soon anyway. I mean, these bankruptcy type things take a long time. LifeMiles is separate from Avianca, so they'll probably last even if Avianca folds. That said, your ability to book Star Alliance awards will probably go away at that point. But if LifeMiles is still profitable and has money, they may still very well be able to pay for the award tickets you've booked in the future if airlines are still honoring those. So no, I'm not particularly concerned about it, but at the same time, I'm not booking any travel imminently. And we always say that you shouldn't buy miles speculatively. If you don't have imminent travel, don't bother buying. And while this is the best I've ever seen on Avianca LifeMiles, it's not so much better than what they often offer. I mean, if they pretty frequently offer 1.35, 1.37, 1.4. So this is a little bit better. It's not that amazing.
Yeah, no, exactly. So yeah, it comes down to if you have a specific trip you're trying to book and it's cheaper for you to get there by buying those miles, then sure, I would do it. But I wouldn't just buy them just to have them. No.
Right. Iberia, I might be slightly more tempted only because Avios, you can transfer those over to British Airways too, and, find the right sweet spot between like 3 different programs, really. So those are a little bit more tempting, but only a little. And at 1.4 cents, that's not any better than what you can ordinarily do when those sales come up. So,
Right.
like Greg said, if you got to use, great. If not, I probably wouldn't bother either.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Do you want to read the next one?
Yes, sorry. So Ken asks, hi, Greg and Nick. Regarding product changing from the Bonvoy Boundless to the Ritz card, do I need a $10,000 credit limit? If so, I have credit. I can move from other Chase cards. Would I do that first in a separate call?
Yeah. So yes, I believe you do need a 10K credit limit, and I am pretty sure they could do it all in one call for you.
Yeah, I think
So
so.
I don't think I would only move to the 2-call situation if you have trouble with 1 call. I mean, I don't think that should be a problem.
No, I think that should be fine. Other people have been moving around credit in order to do that with like the Sapphire Reserve and stuff like that all in one call. So I would assume that that's just a single caller. Yeah. But that's a good point, though, to remind people that you can move limits. Chase will let you move limits from other cards, other personal cards. Now, personal stays with personal, business stays with business. You can't move business credit line to your personal card or whatever. But if you've got 5 different Chase cards, Chase will typically let you move those around. Now, you need a $10,000 credit limit initially for the Ritz card when you first product change to it, but you don't have to keep that $10,000 all on the Ritz card long term. I don't know how long before they'll let you shift that again from the Ritz card to something else. Do you know?
Interesting. No, I don't know.
Yeah, but you don't have to keep the $10,000 credit limit on the Ritz card either forever. Anyway.
Okay. No Man asks, if one is moving overseas for a few years, do Chase, Amex, or Citibank allow us to keep and use the cards we already have, or do they have any issues or restrictions about having an overseas address?
I have no idea. I assume you keep them, but I've never had anybody ask this before.
Yeah.
You know, Greg?
I mean, I've known people who have spent a lot of time overseas, like one friend of mine, he and his wife moved to Germany, and I know he's still using American credit cards. So I don't think there's any issue. I mean,
we get some expat readers every now and then that ask questions that mention that they're expat readers. I mean, I know some bloggers live overseas. I don't think there's any issue keeping your.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if there were some banks that complained about banks who waive the foreign transaction fees that would eventually complain about you sort of abusing that.
I guess the other issue is I wonder what people that have moved overseas are doing for their billing address. Like, will they let you change your billing address to Germany? Maybe they're keeping, a family member's house or something.
Yeah, I think they're keeping. I think they're doing that in most cases. So yeah, I think that would be the thing: is change your billing address to one that's still available in the U.S., like a family member's, and have all your bills set up to be electronic so that you can manage everything online. And it should be okay. I think.
I think so. I would think. That'd be my best guess, but obviously not an expert in that specific question. But I feel like that seems like a good guess. All right, Jan asks us, any news on whether Southwest is allowing all canceled flights to revert into miles? Any news on that yet, Craig?
No. Well, no. So we had gotten news from Southwest directly about a month ago saying they're working on it, but it was technically challenging, I think, and so. I'm sure it's going to happen, but when it's going to happen, no, I don't know.
Yeah, don't know. I wish we knew because I'd love to be able to see that happen, and I think it'd be useful for a lot of readers. So I'd like to be able to take advantage of it. They've clearly said that it's going to be a good ratio. So hopefully, when they do get that sorted out, it's going to be a worthwhile conversion. But unfortunately, we just don't know yet. All right. So next up.
So Stephen gave us some input here about the overseas question, saying they could set up a mail forwarding service. So, and he says Chase has no issue with his mail forwarding service, but Amex and Citi don't like it, and so we have to use, we being Stephen and his wife's parents' address. And using an overseas mailing address should be okay, but they won't be able to apply for new cards with Amex or Citi without a US-based home address. Okay.
So there you go. You need a
There you
US
go.
based home address to apply for new cards, but not necessarily to keep the cards that you have.
Right.
Hmm. All right. Well, that's good. That's good to know. So hopefully that helps you. All right. So next up, then we've got a question from is that D-Strom? My eyesight's failing me here. I'm at 48 Hyatt nights year to date. Would you recommend working towards the full 60 for Globalist, or do you expect they will lower requirements as the year progresses? What do you think, Greg?
Oh, definitely work towards it. So I don't think they're going to lower it. They've done things like increasing the number of nights you earn from the credit card spend, and I imagine they'll do other things going forward to give you ability to earn more nights easily. But I don't think they'll lower the requirements, is my guess. So I would personally be looking to get to the 60 nights. I think it's totally worth it.
See, I'd bet the other way.
Really?
I think I would. Yeah. I mean, if they basically said in their release on the COVID stuff that they
Mm,
recognized they were going to need to adjust elite requirements, but it was basically too early to say what those adjustments
mm,
were going to be. So
okay.
I can't remember the exact wording of the sentence, but it's in our COVID cancellation policies post. And so I think they probably will. I mean, everybody else has basically reduced their requirements. So I would assume that they would. So I say everyone else has basically reduced their requirements. Not entirely true because Marriott's giving half of the elite nights. I imagine that Greg is right that there's a good chance that they'll do some promos. I've said all along, I kind of figured everybody would do like double elite night credits or triple elite night credits on stays at some point. So I don't think I'd be in a hurry to pick up those 12 nights now if globalist status isn't going to do you any good now. If you're not going to have one of those stays where it's going to be valuable for you in the very near future, I'd probably wait a couple months and see what happens, because either I think they'll add on some good promos where you can get those 12 nights faster than in 12 actual nights, or they'll reduce their requirements, or maybe they'll follow Marriott's lead and give you some credit toward from whatever you would have earned last year.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with that.
Globalist is worth it.
Wait and see what
Wait.
they do, unless you have a stay coming up where you need the globalist status. Wait
Right.
and see what they do. And you might want to, if you have a Category 1 Hyatt nearby, you might want to make a reservation for like near the end of the year to get your extra nights, or maybe a couple reservations in case you don't need all of those nights. And then cancel it when it gets closer if you don't need them.
Totally agree with that. Yeah, making some prospective mattress run type reservations for late in the year, and then wait and see what happens, because I would bet they're going to make it a little bit easier. The credit card alone isn't enough. Not everybody that stays at Hyatt is going to have the credit card. So I feel like they got to add something else to make elite status a little bit easier this year, probably.
It'd be really interesting if they do something similar to what Marriott did. I could see the brands looking at what Marriott did and saying, "Ooh, that's a good idea,"
Yeah.
and saying, "Oh, you have Explorus, going into this year, so we're going to give you 15 extra nights," something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I could see something like that, which, so you may end up, if you're already had Explorer status from, if you had that last year or had earned that from last year's activity anyway, rather, then maybe you'll end up at the 60 nights without having to stay another night this year. So I wouldn't be in a hurry to book the mattress runs like for tomorrow, book them for later this year in case. It's definitely worth those 12 nights. I mean, let's make that clear. Globalist status is worth way more than Explorer status. So certainly worth the extra 12 nights. If you're, I mean, again, any kind of status is only worth it if you're going to use the benefits, but assuming that you're at that point, then you're obviously staying often enough to be able to use the benefits. So 12 nights is a good plan. Good decision.
Yeah.
Okay. So
all right. What else do we have? Let's see. All right. I don't think we know who's wrote this, but company financial issues aside, is the Virgin Atlantic MasterCard actually the best card for large plastic payments such as home or student loans, assuming you hit the 60K threshold?
This is really a question for Greg to answer. I think my initial reaction was no, but Greg definitely is more of a Virgin Atlantic card expert than I am. So what do you think, Greg?
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure it's the best card, but I'd say it's a very good card. So it has one trait that it has. It's a MasterCard, and so that means you can pay for a lot of things like mortgage that you can't pay through plastic with Visa cards or Amex. The other thing it has going for it is it earns 1.5 miles per dollar right off the bat, and then it also has bonuses with high spend, so I think it's a great card to spend. I think at 25K or 30K, depending on which bonuses you want to top out per year on. I don't think at 60K. It said something like assuming you hit the
Yeah,
60K
60K.
threshold. So I don't remember it having anything special at 60K spend. So I'm not sure what that's about.
That didn't mean anything to
So
me either. That's why I asked you the question. So it's like 60K. That wasn't ringing any bells with the Virgin
yeah,
Atlantic card. So
yeah. But anyway, at 25K, it averages over 2 miles per dollar with your spend. So that's a good combination. It gets a little bit better. Like the thing is that if you're not interested in the other benefits it gives you from spend, like uh, the ability to earn elite status, then you're not doing much better than the city double cash. So if you have the combination of the city double cash and something like City Premier or City Prestige, the double cash, which gives you 2 points per dollar for all spend, is also a MasterCard, would give you very close to the same, but better because it's transferable not just to Virgin, but to a lot of different programs. And Citi sometimes offers transfer bonuses, so could actually end up earning more that way than the other. So
that was my
yeah,
reaction. That was my
yeah,
thought. I thought I'd say double cash over the Virgin Atlantic. I wouldn't tell you that the Virgin Atlantic card is a bad idea if you value Virgin Atlantic
mhm,
miles. Yeah, like you said, it's a very fair return. I don't know if I would call it the best. I think I'd probably go
right,
with the city card. Or then, if you're paying things that can be paid with a Visa, then I suppose maybe the Bank of America Premium Rewards is something to consider too. So especially 2 point if you have platinum honors at the 2.625% cash back. I mean, that's pretty compelling, but that's more limited in terms of what kind of bills you can pay. So that's
right.
why you
Well,
mentioned the
and
MasterCards.
we've also learned that the Bank of America cards that offer travel bonuses sometimes, not always, with some plastic payments, they count as travel. So pay your rent or something, and it might count as travel. And so that card, the Premium Rewards card, gets 3.5% if you have Platinum Honors for travel. And then there's other cards that Bank of America has that do even better, but they're
With a
more
lower
constrained
cap.
in how much total spend you can do at that level. So there's the um, cash rewards that offers 3% for travel if you choose that category, up to I want to say $2,500 per
Yeah, that
quarter,
sounds right.
something like
Yeah,
that.
$2,500 per quarter. Yeah,
And then the MLB card is exactly the same, I think,
I think
right?
so.
Has
Yeah.
the exact same structure. So you could get both of those and have like $5,000 a quarter in travel spend at, if you have platinum honors, at five and a quarter
Five and a
percent
quarter.
cash
Yeah, I
back.
mean that's pretty terrific. Yeah, that's pretty good. So there's some options there then. And the
Yeah,
moral of the story is that is the Virgin Atlantic card best? I mean, I don't know if it's best, but
right.
it's good. It's good. But you may search a little deeper for those types of plays that I think are probably more profitable long term.
Yeah,
Because otherwise your points are costing you quite a bit in the sense that like you could be earning this cash back, and so you're kind of paying for the points almost and overpaying in some ways.
yeah, right.
So that's that.
Okay,
Hopefully
so
that helps. Jerry,
yeah,
yeah, go ahead. Are you
yeah.
reading?
So Jerry wants to know, I got
Mhm.
the Amex Plat primarily for the lounge benefits. Since lounges are largely shut down, streaming credit value is 0 since I have Netflix guest access. Don't like Uber Eats. Should I downgrade?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, of course. If the benefits don't do anything for you, then yeah, I mean, like, how would you convince yourself not to upgrade? That's, I think that's just a clear decision. It's like saying, McDonald's has hamburgers, but I'm a vegetarian. Should I still go get a hamburger? No, I mean, like, I mean, I'm sure there's something vegetarian on the menu. Don't get me wrong, but if you don't like it, then why are you gonna go eat there? So yeah, I don't think it makes sense, right? I mean, do you, Craig?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's sort of a hidden question within this, which is like, are there benefits that he should be taking advantage of to make the card worth keeping?
I
And
mean, maybe,
what do you
but
think?
obviously, so you got the $200 airline credit. If you got the personal platinum, you got the Saks credit. How much you value those things depends on how easily you use them. I find the $200 airline credit still easy enough to use, especially with Southwest. So I feel like that I value pretty highly, let's say $180 there. And then, the Saks Fifth Ave credit, I wouldn't value very highly because I don't buy anything at Saks. So I wouldn't probably put too much thought into that. And then when you get the wireless phone credit, I'm paying for my phone either way. So $20 a month this year. All right. So that's, whatever, the $120 or something like that it comes out to. So 220. I mean, I don't know. Do you value the other benefits? I don't feel like the other benefits are probably worthwhile.
Right.
National Executive Elite status, fine hotels and resorts. Those are all things that are niche opportunities that are good and nice to have. But no, it sounds to me like you're not using enough of the benefits. That's my thought.
So I know what you're going to say, but I'm going to ask you anyway. Which card should he downgrade to?
Well, okay, that's a good question because downgrading, you've only got limited options. You have to downgrade to another charge card. So the gold card is the one that I would pick. I would want the gold 4x grocery. I mean, who doesn't spend money on groceries? 4x groceries and dining. I would take that. Now, if you don't like Uber Eats, I guess you're not going to probably find the monthly credit on the gold card particularly compelling either, unless you happen to shop at box.com. So that credit isn't going to do you much good, but the airline credit will at least help offset the fee. And I think at that point, it's worth the fee for the 4x grocery and dining, in my opinion, I think.
Right. Because the other option would be the green card, which is its benefits are so travel related that it doesn't sound like you're going to get any benefit from that either.
Definitely not. Yep. Agreed. And the net fee on the gold essentially for you is probably going to be similar to what you would, a little bit more than the green, but the benefits all outweigh it, I think. All right. So there you go. There's your answer. Definitely downgrade it and or cancel it if the gold card doesn't work for you. If that doesn't provide enough benefit for you, then it's time to cancel, I think. Wave the white flag and get out of there. Right?
Yep. And maybe when you call to cancel, maybe they'll
give you a retention bonus.
Yeah, give you a bonus that's worth the annual fee. And so you can keep it another year.
Definitely. That's a good point too. All right. Next up, business cards don't affect 524. How about employee cards? If I give my parents an employee card for the Amex Blue Business Plus, does it affect their credit? Do both cards now share the same $50,000 cap on the 2X categories? Blue Business Plus, of course, earns 2 points per dollar in the first $50,000 a year in spend. So do the two cards share that cap, Greg? And what effect, if any, does it have on 524 for his parents?
It has no effect on 524. It's not going to show up on their credit reports. There's really no downside that I'm aware of to adding employee cards, other than you have more cards to juggle and sort of keep aware of. The cap is the same because all the spending goes towards your master account, basically. So the point earnings go to you, not your parents. So it's the same cap.
So the same single 50K cap. You don't get to
single 50K cap for the whole account, not per user. Right.
So there you go. That answers that. So no harm done there. Just some extra points for you if they're willing to give you the points for their spend.
Right. Okay. Now, Mark asks, do you think there is any rat risk in opening an everyday preferred and then accepting an everyday to everyday preferred upgrade offer within the next few days?
I mean, I don't think that they're going to not award you the bonus on either of them. I don't think there's a big risk. I mean, I guess the risk I feel like you maybe run there is getting the pop-up in the future for not being eligible for a welcome bonus in the future. Maybe you'll get that. Maybe you're more likely to get that in the future. Another thing, though, is that I think anecdotally I've heard before of those upgrade offers perhaps disappearing after you've opened the card. So I don't know that that's true. So I could be making that up. I'd do some research first, but I seem to recall somebody mentioning before that they were intending to do something like that, and then the upgrade offer wasn't there anymore. So could have been they just waited too long. Could have been it was just the day that upgrade offer was suddenly getting pulled out of their account. But I don't know for sure that the upgrade offer will still be there once you've opened the new one.
Right. But either way, Mark, thanks for the reminder. I have that upgrade offer sitting in my account, and I want to go ahead and do that and get the 25K points.
There you go. And I would definitely say that in general, those upgrade offers are great opportunities. So it's worth giving that a shot. Probably. I mean, if you can pull it off and get them both, I mean, it might lead to a little pop-up action. But if you continue to spend on your other cards, again, anecdotally, that seems to make the pop-up eventually go away. So I wouldn't be overly concerned there. Okay, next up. So let's see. View from the Wing posted a Rakuten deal that paid 90 points per dollar on a 1-year LifeLock subscription. This is a deal that's come around a couple of times, something similar to this anyway. So in that case, it was like 29,000 points for a $300 purchase. The value of the LifeLock subscription aside, imagine you don't value that at all. Are you
Right.
guys buyers of membership rewards points for 1.1 cent per point? Because that's essentially what it comes out to, 1.1 cents a point. I'd love to hear you guys break it down, and it sounds tempting. What do you think, Greg? Are you a buyer at 1.1 cents?
Yeah. So yes and no. So when I say it, if all I had to do was press a single button and I get the points for 1.1 cents and there was no question about it, I would definitely do it. I mean, for one thing, I have the Charles Schwab Platinum card, so I could turn around and cash them out for 1.25. So it's an instant profit. I I've had some issues in the past with these kind of LifeLock things where it doesn't pay out the way it was advertised or whatever, and so I don't like the hassle of having to try to, you know, issue or submit
A claim for the
requests for a
missing.
claim, yeah, all that stuff. So it's it gets back to my laziness. The same reason I'm still doing the Kiva loans. That I'm not doing this one because it's just the chance that I have to do a lot of follow up.
And then there's the hassle of having to cancel it later on down the road, right? Because I assume that
Right.
I didn't actually look at this, but I assume that the LifeLock
I'm assuming.
membership is going to be set for auto renewal, and so you're going to have to either turn that off, or I doubt they probably make that easy. You probably have to call in and deal with
Right.
a person and cancel it. So there's a little bit of hassle there too. So there's a little bit of additional cost to consider in terms of the potential hassle of the points just not posting, and then the real life almost certain hassle of trying to cancel it after the fact. Now, is that worth it? I mean, if you have a trip coming up and that 29,000 points is going to put you over the top in order to book the trip that you want to book, I mean, then yeah, it may very well be worth it. In my case, I'm not at the point where I'm booking anything right now. So while I'm theoretically, like Greg said, interested in buying membership rewards points at 1.1 cents each, I don't actually need them right now. So I wouldn't hop on it right now. I think it'd have to be a situation where I had a pretty near term use for the points, although not super near term because it takes a while to get those paid out, right? It takes a few months to get paid out on that. So yeah, I mean, it's not bad. It's not something I'm going to jump on.
It's not super exciting.
Right.
But it's a solid deal, but it's not super exciting. Yeah.
I'm not super excited at 1.1 cents a point in general, like paying that
Hmm.
much in general for any kind of point, even though you can use them for more than that. There's the other factor that, if you do any kind of manufactured spending, 1.1 cents a point is, not necessarily bad, but it's far from the best you can do in terms of, producing
That's a good
points.
point.
So
Yeah.
I don't get overly excited about
There,
those 1 point
right.
something cent
There's
points.
cheaper ways of sort of indirectly buying points.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All
All
right.
right. So
Champ.
Champ asks,
Hmm.
"Hey Greg and Nick, if you were forced to only keep 5 credit cards in total, what cards would they be and why?"
I saw
Oh,
this.
that's a hard one.
This came up somewhere. I don't know. Somebody must have published this because I feel like I saw this somewhere on Twitter
Oh,
or
really?
something else.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think
Huh.
this was like one of those challenge type situations, and I didn't put any thought into it then. So now I have to think about it on the fly, huh?
Is there like maybe there's a contest that Champ is hoping to enter, and so he wants to get our ideas, and
Expert
then he's
opinions.
he's going to put them into the contest and lose because it's
All
I'm
right.
going to give him
So,
bad ideas.
hmm. So I think,
That's so hard.
yeah. All right. So the Ink Plus, I'm definitely going to keep. So, which I guess would be the Ink Cash these days. If you don't have an Ink Plus, it'd be the Ink Cash. And so, if you're going to have to keep the Ink Cash, if you don't have the Ink Plus like I do, if you only have access to the Ink Cash, then that means you're going to need another card in order to be able to transfer to Chase Partners.
Right.
So if I say Ink Cash, which again in my situation I'd only have to burn 1 slot, but in yours
Right.
probably you'd have to burn 2. So Ink Cash, and then I guess I would say it's a tight squeeze between the Sapphire Preferred and Sapphire Reserve. If I'm going to be limited to 5 and I got to stick with these forever, I probably go Sapphire Preferred. So Sapphire Preferred and Ink Cash. Now I'm going to start to struggle at that point. Amex Gold. Um, starts to get tough now. All right, I'm going to say double cash and Premier. So double cash, Premier, Ink Cash, Chase Sapphire Preferred, Amex Gold, and that was a tough one because I really like the Venture card also, but it doesn't pair with anything else, and I feel like you kind of want to have some strengths that you can add together in terms of bonus categories and different things. I think at that point, bonus categories on a fair number of different types of spend, and also access to all three major transferable currencies with cards that earn better than 1 point per dollar. So I think that's my lineup.
Yeah. Well, so I mean,
Don't
I
cheat and
guess
say
we,
you're going
I
to
guess
copy
we,
me.
well, yeah, that's the problem. And I think we talked so much about this stuff that we had the same thoughts. So, um, I basically have the same roundup, except I would definitely do the Sapphire Reserve if I could only have one
Why?
consumer chase card. Because the opportunities to get bonus points, just the 3x dining and travel is gonna push me over the top there. It'd be worth it to get the extra value in the earnings and also on redeeming the points for
What
1.5.
redeeming the points for 1.5 is a valid argument if you redeem a lot of those points. And I've redeemed more at 1.5 than I expected. So there's part of me that feels like I could be convinced that way. But in terms of earning the 3x travel and dining, I'm less excited about that because I'm going to keep the gold. So that's going to give me 4x dining in most places. Obviously, some places Amex isn't accepted, but I'm probably
True.
going to use that. And I'd be able to get 3x dining on the Premier.
Oh, that's right. I
Now,
forgot that it's adding that. Yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah.
3x and a lot of travel
So
with
the
that. So I'm
grocery,
like,
the Premier is not looking. So when you have those other cards, you could say the Premier isn't as exciting. I mean, you,
but you have to
as
have something to transfer the points if you're going to
you
keep the
do,
double
yeah.
cash. So yeah, I mean, it
Mm,
would be 3x gas, right? So that's good because
that
that'll be a
is
unique
special.
bonus
Yeah.
category there. And the 3x travel, which I wouldn't be getting from Chase. And then which isn't, it won't be 3x travel anymore. It'll be 3x but air and
Airfare and
hotel,
hotels
which
and
is
travel
to me.
agents.
So yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So that's enough of the travel purchases that I spend money on to be travel for me. So I feel like the Premier is not bad. The 3x grocery
Mhm.
is not going to be as exciting until I cap out the 4x at 25K on the the Amex Gold, and then I'll get 3x on the rest of my groceries. So, and I
Right.
feel like you with the Ink Cash, you can get a bunch of travel gift cards, your Delta gift cards or Southwest gift cards or Airbnb or hotels.com at 5x at like Staples or Office Max or something. So I don't really feel like the 3x travel and dining is particularly compelling if you're in that 5 card lineup.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to decide if I should move up to the Prestige. So luckily, so this question does not give me a budget. So
Right. No, it
I could
doesn't.
get the most expensive cards,
You
right?
could. You could.
But
You're just going to have to pay for it for the rest of your life because these are the
but
only
the
5 cards.
right, the Prestige would reduce the value of the Sapphire Reserve though for me because I'd be using the Prestige for dining and airfare although still I like the travel insurance of
Travel,
the
yeah.
Sapphire Reserve. I don't know.
See, that's why I go Sapphire Preferred though, because I could buy the gift cards with 5x on the Ink Cash at the office supply store and use them to pay for
Yeah.
most of the airfare or most of the hotel or whatever it may be, and use the Sapphire Preferred and still get travel protection. It's not quite as good as the Sapphire Reserve travel protections, but pretty good, and
Yeah.
work out significantly cheaper over time. So
Right.
probably it's almost a wash, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. You wouldn't get just what about just forget all those cards and just get 5 IHG cards?
that wouldn't be right at the top of my list, but yeah, I mean, we'd be losing a lot of stuff. I mean, narrowing it down to 5, like we made it sound kind of easy to do, but the IHG card, of course, is a joke, but like the Hyatt card I'm sure that Greg doesn't want to get rid of that right now. And, we've talked about all those transferable currencies, and man, the Bank of America Premium Rewards card that earns 2.62 cents per point.
That'd be one of the hardest for me to give up. Yeah.
I mean, and we just said that we don't get excited about opportunities to buy miles at more than 1 cent each. But if you're using the double cash and only earning 2 miles per dollar versus the 2.62 cents that you could be earning, and essentially you're buying points for 1.31 cents a piece, aren't you?
I am, yeah.
So I mean, it's like all of that said, I feel like that Bank of America Premium Rewards with Platinum Honors, that's hard to eliminate.
Yeah.
That lineup.
I mean, I almost want to say forget City altogether and give me that, but then I'd lose out on the Turkish transfer option.
Well, I'm surprised that matters to you because you don't typically seem
Because
to
I haven't ever
fly.
used it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you haven't used it. You don't really fly United very. I mean, you usually fly Delta pretty
True.
much everywhere, and then like the
Right.
1 or 2 times you haven't, I feel like you've
Right.
flown American. So I don't feel like you ever fly. See, where I am,
Yeah.
United is
Yeah.
frequently the most
Right.
convenient option for me. So
Right. Right. Yeah. It's never is for me. Um, yeah, I don't know.
yeah,
I want to keep my options open,
right.
and so by closing out any one transferable currency other than Capital One, which I already don't have, um, yeah, I don't know. I don't like the idea of closing it out, but you're right. I mean, probably I'd be doing better by keeping the Bank of America stuff, the premium rewards. But it
See
does
now,
mean giving up something pretty big, I think. But
if I can keep my Ink Plus because I can transfer to partners
yeah,
with that, then
yeah,
I don't need a Sapphire Preferred or Reserve, and that
right.
opens up a spot where I think I would probably have to work in the Bank of America Premium
There
Rewards
you
and
go.
Platinum Honors. I feel
That
like
would
that
make
would,
sense.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, same here. If I could keep my and the nice thing about the Ink, no, it's not the Ink Plus. It's the Ink Business Preferred that gives you 3x travel. So scratch what I
that's
was
out.
about
Yep,
to say.
scratch that.
Yeah.
Good attempt. All right, so Champ, that was a great question. You got some good debate there. I feel like we had some interesting stuff to think about there, and probably the two of us will continue thinking about it later on, I
Yes,
bet.
it's a great question.
It is,
I
yeah.
enjoy trying to figure that out. Yep.
Yeah. All right, question number 15. And by the way, I should mention, I joked for a second there when Greg said, oh, well, you didn't say anything about how much the annual fees are. So I'd go with the Prestige, the highest one. And I joked that then you have to get stuck paying that fee for the rest of your life. But I feel like that's another interesting dynamic that we didn't necessarily talk about is how much it's
Hmm.
going to cost you to pursue that strategy over the long term.
Right.
So
Right.
certainly something to think about. Anyway, question 15, Eddie. Eddie says it is no longer possible to product change from, oops, sorry, I just clicked the wrong place. From the City Premier to the Rewards Plus. No, is it? Is it no longer possible to product change from the City Premier to Rewards Plus or anything else? Are PC options ever dependent on the particular customer? So I'm assuming that Eddie called and they wouldn't let him product change from the Premier to
I don't know.
Rewards
I
Plus.
I have not heard of any issues with people trying to product change from the Premier to the Rewards Plus. So I'm not sure where that's coming from. Um, are PC options ever dependent on the particular customer? I mean, they certainly are with Chase, but I'm not aware. I can't think
Mm,
of cases with Citi. Do you know?
well, so two things. First of all, if your Premier is less than a year old, because it has the $95 annual fee, they may not let you product
Sure.
change to a card with no fee. So that's the first thing. If you're within that
Right.
first, I think that's a Card Act thing. If you're within that first year, you can't change the annual fee. So I don't think they'll let you do that anyway. So even though, although it's a downgrade, I don't know. I don't think
I know
they'll let you
you'd
change
think
it.
you would think that should be allowed, but
Yeah, but I don't think they will. So there's that, and then the additional pieces that I feel like I have occasionally heard of Citi having different cards available to product change to. Because I remember like when I changed to my AT&T Access More, I had a Citi Advantage card back in the day at that point, and I remember the agent looking at it and being like, "Oh, well, I mean, you can pretty much change to anything you want," and the agent almost sounded a little surprised at the breadth of options I had. But
uh-huh.
like Greg said, I haven't heard any kind of widespread, oh, well, I had this and couldn't do that. And certainly haven't heard of anybody unable to downgrade to the Rewards Plus. So that would be news to me, that particular card. Maybe some of the less easily available cards. I feel like, again, the AT&T Access More for a while when it was like not easily available anymore. There were some maneuvers you had to do in order to get there. Now I don't think you can get it at all. So there may be some like niche things, but yeah, in general, I think you should be able
Yeah.
to downgrade.
Right, right, right. And this just kind of reminds me of a little trick on the Chase side that I assume is still valid, but I don't have any recent data points. But a couple of years ago, anyway, if you wanted to downgrade from the Sapphire Preferred to the to a particular like Freedom Unlimited, you might not be given that option when you call, but you could downgrade to the no fee Sapphire and then immediately like call right back and say I want to change the Sapphire to the Freedom Unlimited, and they would let you. And so there, so anyway, it's just I don't know how widespread that kind of weird dynamic is where you can move from you have to go A to B to C instead of A to C, but it did exist in the past, so might still be something going on if you're in a situation where they won't let you convert directly to what you want. Who
It would be
knows?
weird in the specific Premier to Rewards Plus
That would be very
line.
weird.
That would be an odd
I
thing,
can't
but
see that.
yeah. But you're right. I mean, that also happened for a while. That's what I was referencing with the Access More card. For a while, people had to product change first to the
Yep.
Access card and then call back and product change to the Access More card.
Yeah,
Doesn't
that's a
work
good
anymore, I
example.
guess.
Yep.
But yeah, so
Right.
similar kind of thing.
All right, cool.
All right.
All right. So Anthony
Mhm.
asks, the 56K points from my Amex Hilton statement last week haven't posted yet. There was an article on miles to memories. Do you have any news to what could be going on?
Yeah, it seems to be happening to a lot of people. So I think it's a pretty widespread thing. I don't know if it's only affecting people who spend a lot of money on gift cards, but there's certainly a lot of people that had their points tied up, not just it sounds like a week for you, but 2 statement periods. I've seen reports from various people that they still haven't received the points on their Aspire card. Again, that's probably mostly the 12x grocery bonus. However, I saw some comments in a group that I'm in over the last couple of days that indicate to me that the points sound like they're posting now for some people. So my thought is that they will probably be posting eventually. It was a little nerve wracking for a bit because the word on the street was that they were examining whatever it was Amex's team was reviewing, and not the typical, well, points might take 8 weeks to post kind of a response, but rather we're reviewing the transactions kind of a thing. So a little bit concerning. I don't know for sure what's going to happen, but like I said, there were a bunch of comments that led me to believe that some people were receiving their points. So I think that it's probably going to be okay, is my thought. That's the info I have for you.
I think so too.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. So next up, Saeed asks, have either of you received your restaurant credits for the City Prestige $250 travel credit? I downgraded my Prestige card. What about you, Greg?
I had already
Used it.
spent the travel, I think,
Me
so
too.
it's not relevant for me.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, we had already. My $250 Prestige credit is usually gone like the first statement period, or even before the first statement period is done usually. So that was gone early in the year for me, and I feel like that ability to use it at restaurants was not as compelling, because I feel like for a lot of Prestige card holders that's probably the case. But no, I've used the Aspire credits. Those have been coming in handy. I've been using that at restaurants for those credits, and they post like within a couple of days. I've had a few that have posted literally the next day, the day, which I couldn't believe. The transaction's usually pending for a day or two, and I've seen the credit just one day later on a couple of purchases, 3 or 4 days on others. So it varies a little bit. But
yeah, that's great. Quick, yeah, and I just started using the restaurant credits on one of those Bonvoy cards, and so nice. And that posts fine.
Quick to you.
Okay, so CKDG888 asks, anyone else switch daily spend from CSR to Amex Gold and only keep CSR for travel, portal, and transfer partners?
Well, my first reaction is, why are you using the CSR for daily spend? I mean, unless your daily spend is travel and restaurants, like you shouldn't be spending a 1x on the CSR. So, right. So definitely daily spend shouldn't be going on that, or the Amex Gold for that matter. If we're talking about unbonused purchases, neither of those cards are great, because 1 point per dollar, that's a pretty expensive proposition when you could be earning 2% cash back. Then essentially you're choosing between 2 pennies and 1 point. You're paying 2 cents a piece for your points if you're only getting 1x on your purchases. So you don't want to do that. That's pretty. We just said that we were only mildly enthused at buying points at 1.1 cent. And if you're buying them at 2 cents, you're way overpaying, in my opinion. So you should be looking at something else. So now what should they be looking at for everyday spend?
Right. So, I mean, if you want to stick within the Chase Ultimate Rewards, you have the Sapphire Reserve, then you should be using either the Freedom Unlimited or the Inc. Business Unlimited to get 1.5 points per dollar everywhere, and then only use your Sapphire Reserve for travel and dining. If you have the gold card, and it sounds like you do, then yeah, you want to use that one for dining and grocery. And you'll want to
get the Blue Business Plus.
That's what I say. Ideally, the Blue Business Plus, which will give you 2 points per dollar for all spend up to $50,000 per year. So that's an ideal one for everyday spend. If you don't have a business, there's not as good of options on the Amex side. You could go with the Everyday Preferred, but then you have to make sure you make 30 purchases per month for it to average 1.5 points per dollar for your spend. So I think if you're in that situation, either go back to the Freedom Unlimited idea or hop over to like a cashback, like a city double cash would be a good option. And that way you could branch into thank you rewards if you ever want to.
And keep your Amex Gold. I mean, especially if you're using it at grocery and restaurants for the 4X, there's no reason to get rid of that. I would just, put everyday spend on a card like the Double Cash, where you can choose between having 2% in your pocket, or if you decide to get the Premier at some point and be able to transfer partners, great. That's better than spending at 1X on either of those other two cards.
Right. All right. It's lightning time.
Lightning time. Okay.
That's good.
A lightning
sound effect. I like that.
All right. So Larry's going to kick us off with question number 1 here on the lightning side. You can only pick one, 12X Hilton or 6X Marriott. So I assume we're talking grocery spend. 12X, 6X.
We answered this last week. I think we forgot.
Did we? Okay. All right. Never mind.
We both agreed 12X. No, wait. I said 12X Hilton. You said you were sort of either way, and so you were doing a little of both, right?
I have been. I've been using both of them, and I did not start using the Aspire until after the last statement period, really. So I don't have my points held up yet. I'm not sure if they're going to post on the next statement or not, but so I did use that at grocery, and I also have been using Marriott as well. I posted actually just yesterday about how the Ritz points are posting really weird on
right.
But
at least they're posting. That's good news.
They are posting though.
All right. Lightning number 2 from Eddie. Is the Blue Business Plus 50,000 limit per calendar year or membership year?
I thought that was calendar year.
It is calendar year.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
That's what I thought. Okay, done. Calendar year.
Done.
Easy.
No,
all right.
No more lightning. Sad.
All right. No more lightning. It's a sunny day. It's a sunny day here where I am. So
that's okay. We can wrap up a few minutes early. That's fine with me.
All right. Well, thank you guys very much for being out there with us today. Thank you, Greg. If you want to check out more, go to thefrequentmiler.com/subscribe, where you can get on our email list and check out everything else, like the Frequent Miler on the Air episodes that are going to publish every Saturday still. And again, next week, we'll be back with a card talk during the week. And then the week after that, we're back with another Ask Us Anything. Mark your calendar.
It's only these that are live, though. We're not doing the card talk live. So you'll have to wait till we actually publish it for it to come out. So it won't be on Tuesday for you. It'll be on Tuesday for us.
So we'll see you guys again 2 weeks from today.
Bye, everybody.
See you later.